All right, Jules, in terms of the game itself, right? Obviously, there's no Karim Benzema for Real Madrid. And I want to talk to you about the way Carlos set up for this game. Because, all right, you had the best midfield we kind of sort of imagine now with Kroos, Modric, and Tchouameni. Up front, funnily enough, he did not pick on his only genuine center forward to replace Benzema, nor did he pick the 100 million euro man, nor did he pick Asensio, scored that great goal. Yeah. He picked Rodrigo. Now, when you pick Rodrigo to play center forward with Valverde and Vinicius, well, first of all, you go from having an old front line not that long ago to having a very young front line, but you're going to get a ton of movement. Yeah, and I kind of thought if you go back to the first, especially in that first half, like other than the goal, we didn't see much of Real Madrid necessarily in the box, but it always felt like they had control. They didn't necessarily create so many chances, but it always felt as if, despite not having that forward presence, despite not laying the siege on Oblak, which I think to some degree is maybe what Simeone expected. Remember, obviously, Simeone without Savic, without Jimenez, having to rejigger things a little bit at the back. But it always felt like if they had one or two passes, somebody's running through on goal. You always have that continuous threat. Yeah,
it's always on an edge. You can easily see it, and many times it doesn't go through or it doesn't happen. But then the one time it happens, like on the Rodrigo goal, it's really hard to defend. I think Felipe makes a big mistake in the sense that he comes out a little bit too much and then maybe doesn't expect the ball from Tchouameni to be so perfect, like literally inch perfect.
He twists himself into a pretzel.
And then he has to turn around. Yeah, exactly. And then it's too late already. Right. But you make a little mistake like this, because it's not a big mistake. It's just maybe a couple of yards ahead of the defensive line from Atleti, and this is it. And that's how they punish you. And we saw it last year, but there was always that bit element of, it's a bit of luck because they were conceding a bit of chances in the Champions League, all of that. But in the league, they were very much like that. They punish you if you make a little mistake, but then they control so much where you put them under pressure. And when they're on top, they make the most of it. When you're on top, they don't give you too much. In the end, Atleti have a higher expected goals than Real Madrid, and I think rightly so. They try to play, they try to create. I think Griezmann had a good game considering he hadn't started all season. This was his first start.
We'll get to Griezmann in a second.
90 minutes, but you can't really fault or blame Atletico for trying to play. It's just that this is what this Real Madrid side does. They're so good at punishing you if you have a little mistake or if you just let them play their game. And one ball, like you said, through, and this is it. You're 1-0 down or 2-0 down.
I think that's what's interesting about it is kind of the adjustment that they make, because going from Benzema to Rodrigo center forward is a really big change. Now, Benzema obviously also has that movement, which, I remember you said last year, he's the best 9 and he's the best 10. Yeah. And But, he has much more of a physical presence. And I think as a defender, that you have the risk that Benzema can go and physically overpower you. He's so good at
hold the ball up better than Rodrigo.
Hold the ball up. Yeah. Rodrigo's not going to do that. So that's what I find remarkable about this, is how versatile this Real Madrid team is. Defensively as well. We've praised Tchouameni and we've praised the defense, but I think we need to tip their hat to them a little bit, because Kroos and Modric off the ball aren't going to give you the running and the energy that you get, just maybe because of their age. So that's a big ask of Tchouameni. Yeah. So being able to do that, essentially with positioning, with reading games, the front three press, obviously, but other than Valverde, I don't know how much of an impact. I mean, that's an area where I think they can definitely grow.
I just think, just quickly on Tchouameni, I mean, that game against Almeria, the first game of the season where he was taken off at halftime, of course, him and Camavinga, where maybe Carlos should not have started them in that game. Not that the opposition, it was just their league debut. I think it's quite overwhelming. But then when you see him now, which is 6 weeks later, or I don't know how many.
That's about right.
Yeah, in his first derby, for him who's never really played, if you think about it, Bordeaux, Monaco don't really have those kind of. If he'd been at PSG Marseille and played 5 of those kind of games.
No, the big Monaco-Nice derby.
Well, even the Monaco-Marseille, it's not exactly the same. Or the Bordeaux-Toulouse, or, it's not really. And for him to put a performance like this, you were like, wow, all the progress that he's made. And I think he's already one of the best 6th in the world, considering this is might not even be his best position, and certainly not a position that he had mastered before. This is all kind of new to him.
Well, and consider the fact how young he is too.
Yeah, you're right.
This is what gets me is I kind of feel we're seeing some very young players play with the mastery and the comfort level of more experienced ones. And Tchouameni certainly, fits that description. A word on Valverde as well, because we saw that crazy run with we ended up shooting on goal, and I'm blanking now whether it was against
Mallorca.
It was against Mallorca last weekend. We saw a similar run this week. Obviously, he had the run in the Champions League final where he burst. But this idea of Valverde as a runner from deep, running at people, taking them on, beating them, this is kind of new. It was generally more of an energy guy who wasn't necessarily vertical.
And not technical. I didn't think that technically he could do like a Neymar kind of, or Vinicius kind of runs, really. And then suddenly he had that to his locker. That is something that you add to the team. So even on that right-hand side, now you also have that threat. Not that he does it all the time, but maybe he's got too much energy. And at some point, Carlos said to him, okay, well, you want to run? Try to run with the ball then. But it's...
Speaking of running, the Vinicius on the second goal where he accelerates away from it. I mean, that's video game stuff. I mean...
You just have to foul him 30 yards away from your goal. Otherwise, and I know you get yellow cards, and then after that, you have to change the way you defend against him. But otherwise, if Oblak doesn't touch it, like really thinly, I think he hits the post and goes in. So he's so good, so dangerous, so lethal, so quick, so unpredictable. It doesn't always work, and we've said it. There are defenders who defended really well on him, but yet that half second where you lose your concentration or he does something that you don't expect and he's through on goal or something happens, it's crazy.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.